Yeah. Keene Roti, yeah.
Spectacular.
Under Niger Connect. Shiba.
Oh no, Keene Roti again. Money don't come my door. Now they go know who I be. Funny how people act nowadays. If money no dey, nobody go send you. Go down on my knee, Baba God make you let money rain. Oh. I'm down on my knee, Baba God put my enemies for shame. Oh. Who say me I go fail? Now they how you go be, I go make 'em. Who say me I no go blow now? Now they how you go day, I go make 'em. Go down on my knee, Baba God make you let money rain. I'm down on my knee, Baba God put my enemies for shame. We shall know. They gon' know who I be. They wanna know who I be, and they gon' know who I be. We shall know. See they gon' know who I be.
Wanna know who I be.
They wanna know who I be.
Wanna know who I be.
And they gon' know who I be.
I wanna make my mama proud, though. I wanna build this thing, you know. Murikitara ditazimira. I'ma do this for my people. See, many things I do when you elevate my name. Don't need to give me under shot. The mandundo mufo. I know this journey is gonna pay me back. It's gonna pay me back. And God beside me, everything's gonna be alright. Shame on my haters, yeah. Shout out my people, yeah. Papa got me, I see, they gon' know who I be. Yeah.
Who say me I go fail? Now they how you go be, I go make 'em. Who say me I no go blow now? Now they how you go day, I go make 'em. Go down on my knee, Baba God make you let money rain.
They gon' know who I be.
I'm down on my knee, Baba God put my enemies for shame.
down.
Shall know. They gon' know who I be.
They gon' know who I be.
They wanna know who I be.
And I know who I be.
And they gon' know who I be. We shall know. See they gon' know who I be. They wanna know who I be. And they gon' know who I be.
I shook on my dog. I took on my car. Suffer another night. They gon' know who I be. I got your white dog. Come on, another side, take a prize. They gon' know who I be.
Welcome to the Black House. You're online with Eddie and Leah, and our special man of the hour, our guest of the hour is Keene Roti, Afrobeat artist, hailing originally from Nigeria, but now based in Perth, Western Australia. First of all, what I want to ask is, how are you doing?
Well, first of all, I would say hi, Eddie. Hi, Leah. It's my first time speaking to Eddie. It's my first time meeting him. And I know Leah, we've been quite friends for a long while, for a long period of time. And I always like talking to you. I always like watching your program, your radio station, and everything. So it's nice meeting you guys again.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm fine. Perth is nice. Australia is good. It's calm. It's easy going. Everything is shining. Everything is bright. Yeah, so I'm fine. So nice meeting you guys again.
First of all, what I'd like to ask you is, tell us a bit about your background, your personal background and your musical background.
Yeah, my background, I was born in Nigeria, born and raised in Nigeria. Lived in Lagos since my childhood. I schooled in Ondo State, studied engineering, and yeah, I'm of family of four. My dad, my mom, two kids. I'm the firstborn, my sister, the secondborn, and lived most of my whole life in Lagos. And if not because I had to study out of Lagos, I would have not leave Lagos to move to part of the Nigerian. It's called Ondo State,
Mm.
and then from there I moved to Australia, and yeah.
Made you move? What made you decide to come to the most remote capital city in the world? Because Perth is the most remote capital. Like, it is so far to go anywhere from Perth. Like, why Perth?
Yeah. When I was trying to further more in my studies, like I said, I studied electrical engineering. Um, we thought of doing Canada, and I was hoping to further more in Canada. And then this issue of Ebola era at that time obstructs a lot of things. So we tried to weigh our options, and then Australia was one of them.
Mm.
And for me, I've loved it. I'm a peaceful person. I love my peace. I don't like too much dramas and all that. And Australia happens to be one of the country that is a very peaceful place to live,
Mm.
just like Canada. So, which was why it was included in my option. And
Okay.
then Australia came through first before others. So I had no choice than to follow Australia. And then coming to Australia, the other ones were trying to reach out, and it's too late.
Mm.
So, and the one who like helped me, my agency, like helped me putting through my application and all that, chose spread. I don't really know much about, you know, the country itself.
Yeah.
Only on getting here, and then I started learning a lot of stuff, knowing where the vibes is, where it's not remote or where it's lively and all that.
Mm.
But I think my destiny chose that first.
The musical journey, was that something that started kind of when you were like living in Nigeria, or was that something that has kind of come from kind of moving to Australia, and how has that kind of musical journey kind of looked for you?
First of all, I started my music career when I was young. Started off from church. My mom used to be part of the choir, and then graduated to be a deacon. Oh, sorry, a deaconess, and then evangelist, all that. So
Mm.
everything started from church while I was growing up. I remember I used to be uh, part of the teens choir, children's choir. When it's like quiz that involve children, like let's say a musical concert for teens. We go from one place to another and all that. I used to be. So it has always been me. My parents love music so much, especially my mom, my dad. And I wouldn't wonder where it all comes from. So it comes from my parents and all that. And so in the process of me being a teen, and then we do all this children stuff, teens competitions of music concert and all that. I've always had the vibe to aspire more. So then I created a group with some other guys, which were like two of my friends in that teen choir. So we created this group called Boys in Christ. I used to be a singer. One of them is a rapper, and the other one sings also, but he's majorly a drummer. So he drums, sometimes sings, and all that. So I write most of the songs, and then as a teenager, all this idea of writing songs, I never learned it from anywhere. I just create stuff from my head, and boom, it's a music, and follow the patterns of how songs were written and all that. And so it went on like that for years, till we all went to school in different places, and then I find myself being solo, like distance and all those issues. So I went solo, and then my schooling right in campus in Nigeria, I was known to be Mr. Real. Actually, that name, Mr. Real, I was the first person to have had that name, Mr. Real. I gave myself Mr. Real while I
Mm.
was schooling. And people got to know me with Mr. Real, got from one school to another to perform. And in the process of, to cut the long story short, in the process of me getting out of Nigeria or out of Africa to Australia, it took a while for me to settle down. So I wasn't doing music for a long period of time because things were hard at the beginning and all that. So that same period I wasn't doing music, somebody else came up and started bearing that name, Mr. Real, in Nigeria.
Mm.
And then my fans was like reaching out to me like, wait, I just saw the music called Mr. Real, but that person doesn't look like you. You guys look alike, but wasn't like you. That's not you. I'm like, yeah, that's not me. But
Mm.
you know,
I think I've even heard of Mr. Real.
yeah, started reaching out to me like, what's going on? That's not you. And that person is bearing your name, stuff like that. So they were like, okay, go on social media, talk about it, make it up, make some stories about how you end up having the name and somebody else coming to take that name and all that. But for me, I don't like dramas and I don't like anything. I said, yeah, it's all right, let him have it. But I was like, when by the time I'm ready to go back to music, whenever I settle down here, I'll have to look for a name that will best suit me and start up with something. So when after I settle down, when I come back to start making music back again, then I came up with Keene Roti,
Mm.
and it kind of set a lot of things back because nobody is aware of Keene Roti. Nobody knows Keene Roti. They only
Mm.
know Mr. Real, and that set a lot of things back. I started building that name from scratch again till
Right.
it get to where it is right now.
What was that process like?
The process is hard because um, I have to start afresh, um, creating another platform for myself. It's my name. A lot of money was involved, time and everything. It wasn't easy because I sponsored myself for my schooling and at the same time sponsor myself with my music career. So it hasn't been easy all this time.
Do you feel like almost like the like that investment, like the kind of work you've put into building that kind of Keene Roti name, do you reckon that's kind of almost made it almost in a sense more important than Mr. Real? Like was or that idea of that name Mr. Real, like was that something you kind of found is that do you find that it's easier to be proud of the work that you've done building Keene Roti as a kind of as a brand and as an artist?
Oh, it's rewarding it if I look at it in some other ways.
Mm.
But the only thing that I felt was a built kind of concern for me was me trying to start afresh, creating a new brand for myself, and then try to get people to know me, you know.
Mm.
Um, I already created a brand for myself with Mr. Real, and it probably hasn't gotten to a certain level, but I can't deny the fact that he has actually reached some kind of level that I feel like me coming to Australia, building on that kind of platform would have, you know, get me to my journey even more quicker. But um, so in life, people say just believe like everything happens for a purpose. Sometimes a disappointment is always turning up to be a blessing. And Keene Roti, for me, I think I even more prefer than Mr. Real.
Mm.
So, because right now, even the Mr. Real right now, nobody knows, or people are not even hearing about him anymore.
Mm. Mm.
Probably if I was still Mr. Real, probably have happened to me the same way. But music wise, I don't think it could have happened like that, you know, because we kind of into different type of music, you know. The way he sang his own kind of music is quite different from the way I do mine. So that would have judged the decision of who is relevant or not. So, but yeah, I would say Keene Roti is it's something that gave me. It has a lot of meaning to my music career because the King itself is an English language, which is the meaning is brave. And if you look at the journey of how I've come through, my process in life, my journey in life from Nigeria to Australia to become what I am right now, it hasn't been easy. Only a brave one can escape through, you know. So yeah, I have no choice. I love Keene Roti right now, and I love what Keene Roti is doing right
I
now.
wanted to ask you, look, I lived in Perth. I lived in Perth for a little while. And the first thing that got to me about living in Perth was the heat and the
Oh,
humidity.
oh,
How are
talk
you
about that.
finding not just your, what you have to do to live every day in Perth, but also going after your musical career and building it in Perth? How are you finding coping with the environment there? Because, like me and my son used to lie starfished on the bed, and I would be in my room going, I can't think, it's too hot. And he would be going, I can't play PS2, it's too hot. Like, it was just too hot to do anything. So how do you find like that every day, just getting used to that environment there?
The winter season is my best.
Mm, yeah,
Though even the winter itself, there are certain levels I kind of like it, you know. But compared to the hotness, winter is far preferable.
yeah.
Do you know sometimes it gets to 45 degree, get
I
to
know.
50 degree, bro.
You can't think. Your brain's fried.
And I remember the time I nearly came here, I used to work I used to work with one construction company,
All right.
and then
Yay.
we build houses, you know, all that stuff like that. We work under that kind of condition, like 45 degree, 50.
Yep.
Like every 2 minutes, 1 minute, I drink water, a bottle of water, a whole bottle of water. I just swallowed it and everything gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. I thought Africa was hot, but this is something else, man. I
Yeah.
think the highest we ever go in Nigeria should be probably around 37, 30, 38.
Yeah.
And still, it's not like every day. Still, we still complain, oh, it's too hot, you know, all
Yeah.
that, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. On getting here, I realized like Nigeria should be proud that, or should probably be happy that they're chilly right now. This is not
Yeah.
hot. When we talk about hotness, yeah. But
Yeah.
part of Nigeria, mostly the northern part of Nigeria, they have a similar kind of weather with Australia when it comes to summer.
Mm.
They experienced that kind of level of hotness too.
Mm.
And there's one part in Nigeria too called Jaws. Is I think they once experienced snow sometimes like that. That's how it is. It's a bit chilly, cold over there too. So we have varieties of season in Nigeria, but the most
Yeah.
constant one is rainy season. So for someone who has been living in the western part of Nigeria, which it hasn't got to that level of hotness before,
Mm.
me experiencing that
Yeah.
was like I was kind of thinking in between, should I just go back or like this is just too much for me, you know?
Yeah.
Like in the middle of the night, there's no hair
Yeah.
at all. Everything just went like boom, to silence everywhere. No, you know, when it's even hot and there's some little breeze, you can still cope, you know.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just die down. You go outside, you look at the plants and they're just stagnant.
Yeah.
Nothing is moving, and the heat is just biting you so hard, and you're like, oh my
Mm.
God, how long am I going to do this? You know.
Yeah.
But I talked to myself and I said, wait, people live here and they never die. So
Yeah, they got
I'm
air
gonna,
conditioning.
yeah, I'm from Africa. I'm from Nigeria. We never say never. We just go for it. I'm like, yeah, if people make it down here, I'm definitely gonna be here to make it too. So now I think I'm used to it. Right now, like
Yeah. I never got used to it. And like it took me a long time to figure out that in order to keep the heat out, you close the windows. You don't open the windows. Do you know that's the secret? You
yeah,
close the windows when the sun. Yeah. I
yeah.
was being a typical New Zealander and I thought open the windows and let the fresh air in. No,
No,
it just lets in more heat.
no.
You just end up cooking overtime.
There's no fresh air outside. It's
There's none.
only the heat outside. And the more you allow that in, it's like from fry pan to fire. You you
Yeah.
you're just like, okay, come on, come get more of me. That's what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
So the windows, the doors, has to be closed at all time, and the AC must be on 24 hours.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then the
Yeah.
bills will start knocking and tell you're using too much of AC.
Yeah. And all your friends will come and hang out at your house because it's cool.
hmm
Yep.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Eddie.
I was gonna say, yeah, it just reminds me like when I was living in Brazil, it was very much like a thing where there'd be the days where it got to like 15 degrees, and all the Brazilians would be like, oh, it's really cold out, and I'd come from New Zealand, I'm just like, this is fine, I'm going to the beach. And on the music side of things, you kind of mentioned like your kind of musical influences coming from like your parents, and I guess like what have been kind of your musical inspirations coming from Nigeria, but also what have been the kind of influences that you've kind of picked up on while you've been in Australia?
Mm. Coming from Nigeria, coming from Africa, our culture, our way of life, our traditions has always been part of the music, and write your stories based on those things happening in your surroundings, your lifestyles, people you live with, what you see, and all that. Those are the inspirations behind Afrobeat in general. So now, me coming to Australia is like um, I'm trying so hard to still fit in that kind of category of where the source of the music itself, because whatever I'm seeing right here does not relate with my style of music.
Mm.
I'm always a social media person. It's one of the way that I get connected to my culture, because I don't see too much of that here. So, but on social medias, I people I follow, things I see based on what is happening and the things I miss back home still give me some kind of inspirations
Mm.
based on how my music should sound, the way I put my stuff and my craft and everything. I would say it's a bit hard for me because I think here in Australia, I mostly crack my head too much to create music because of that difference.
Mm.
And but if I'm in Nigeria or probably in Africa, I might just be driving through somewhere and just passing by, see something and boom, make music out of it, your daily lifestyle and everything. So it hasn't been easy because of that.
Mm.
And I've once spoke to my manager about it. Entertainment industry here in Australia is a bit, it's not up to that level where an artist can strive. So, it's, you've got to work hard to reach out to people outside
Yeah.
who are a fan of whatever you're doing or love entertainment more than the way Australia sees entertainment.
Mm.
So it's a bit difficult to be here and creating Afrobeat.
Mm.
I traveled down to Africa this year, and I was like, my God, I've missed a lot. Immediately, I was in Africa for just, um, let's say, 5 minutes. I felt connected.
Mm.
I felt connected. Like inspiration started like popping up every angle. I was like, oh my God. If I'm here in a day, I can make like 5 to 10 songs just with
Wow.
whatever I'm saying, stuff
Mm.
like that. So yeah, that's just the difference. It's a bit hard to be here creating that kind of music style, and then expecting to, you know, to be at a certain level. It's not that easy. There's a lot of difference between that. Yeah.
I'd like to ask a question about your collaborations, because I know you've collaborated with Kenny Soul from Rwanda
Yeah.
and Sheba from Uganda.
Yeah.
And I was curious about whether you've connected with other Afrobeat artists that are actually resident in Australia. For example, I've got some examples I can give you is Mike Acox in Sydney, D. Matthews, who's originally from, he's from Nigeria, but he was in New Zealand before he moved to Australia. Osayu, Addie Tune, Grace Barbie in Perth, and people like Mazati in Melbourne. I was wondering what's it like for you to reach out to other African Afrobeat artists that are actually in the continent where you are, in the island continent where you are. Some people say it's an island, some people say it's a continent. It's kind of both.
Bloody big island.
It's a really big island.
A big one. A big island. Yes, like I said, the music industry here is not helping.
Mm.
We are not connected. We don't even know each other. Probably these guys you're talking about probably wouldn't have heard about me too.
Right. Okay.
But the names you've mentioned now, I've never heard about them. Come across some of them, some not the ones you mentioned, but some other ones on Instagram. Suddenly just pop up. Probably somebody posted something about them. I was like, oh, so this guy is here in Australia. Go to their profile, try to see some details and all that. So the music industry here, the entertainment music industry itself, has not created a platform for artists to be able to be like connected,
right,
to know each other. And with that being said, it's not an advantage in one way, because working with each other would have created a lot of avenue for other fans to have gotten to know some other people through some other people.
Yeah.
And one thing again is that I believe the artists here themselves are not even trying to understand how working together with each other also helps an artist itself. If we say we are together in a place like this country, we should have understand how it feels for every artist to always love each other, to say, bro, I love your job. I think your job with mine would a bit work together if we can come up with something to do something. I'm always down to work with everybody. I've reached out, like I said, I came across some artists on Instagram, and I went into their page. I saw their kind of music, their style of music, and I can work with anything. So I said, okay, I can work with this. And contact them and say, bro, let's do something. They never replied. It shows even the artists themselves and don't get to understand what collaboration means, how it works. It shows that some people are not even into the music business for the music business itself.
Yeah.
Some people probably doing it for a personal reason, not understanding that music is a business itself.
Yeah.
And working with people is like having a business partner in every
Mm.
angle of how you do your music.
Yeah.
So it's not just basically about the talent itself. I know people in Africa who doesn't have the talent to a standard that you feel like, wow, this guy got some talent. But their music is not even up to that level and they're really making it. So
Mm.
sometimes it's not about the talent, it's not about the goodness of the music, but it's the business strategy,
Yeah.
it's the partnering with each other that
Mm.
helps. I love music. Yeah, it's part of me. I can't do away with music, but
Mm.
it's beyond being just being a talent. I see music as a business, and I want to make money out of it, like a huge amount of money out of it. I'm making some now, but it's not that enough to
Mm.
where I picture myself in future. So I've reached out to some guys, and they're not responding, and I can't force people.
Yeah.
But if the music industry itself had created some kind of avenue at which people like artists kind of connect to meet themselves,
Mm.
probably you will see some of them with different kind of belief or and then things will work well. But
Mm.
we live in an environment whereby everybody is on their own, blah blah blah. And let's not forget, you said I'm from Perth. It's not as Melbourne or Sydney.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's a little difference itself. So I'm far away from those guys. Probably
Yeah.
those ones you mentioned, probably they're in Melbourne, Sydney,
Yeah.
or even Brisbane.
Have heard of the African Music Awards that they have in Australia. I don't know how often they have it, but things like having those structures in place by African people in Australia, instigating those structures to have exactly what you were saying, to be able to connect with other people who do Afrobeat or do Sakus or do Kwasa Kwasa or do Amapiano or whatever, having those
Yes.
structures in place.
Mm.
That could be a business model for you.
Exactly. If we have
Mm,
the promoters feeling like, okay, I'm a promoter here in Australia, reach out, okay, try to know how many Afrobeat artists do we have. We're talking in terms of Africa right now, not in
mm,
general. Like, how
mm,
many Afrobeat do we have in Australia? Who are these people? What state are they?
mm,
Wherever. Like, okay, let's create a kind of concert whereby we bring in all the Afrobeat artists to come
mm,
perform in one state, probably
mm,
this month. In the next 3 months, we take them to some other place. We take them, let the Australian community, the Black community, knows that they got the talent here too, that
Yeah.
is repping Africa. So
mm.
uh, promoters has the role to play too. Probably the award organization that you just mentioned right now.
Yeah, they had
Can,
one a while ago. Yeah, I
yeah,
don't know if it happens every year though. Yeah.
they can somehow create something like that to
Mm,
help some other people. Some other people who are artists doesn't even have the resources, but they got the talent,
mm,
and they never have some platform to prove themselves. You know,
yeah.
I featured a guy here in Perth. He hasn't
Mm,
got any song out yet. I only met him through someone, and he was a rapper. He was just doing some freestyle. I'm like, yo, I like that. I recognize talent when I see them, and I'm like, guy, got something. Let's do something.
mm,
And we actually made a song, and the song was good. This is a guy who has not released any song, probably even have never recorded in a standard studio before, and I felt like we can actually do something. that gives him some kind of belief. That's something for him to build on, you know. So it sometimes it's not about the platform or how many followers do you have, or how many streams has that person got, or is this person doing well. It's just about the love and the talent itself. I want to work with talent. It's not what you got to offer me at this stage. Though I'm looking into that. Like, if I want to work with somebody, you have to be smart. This is what I'm saying. This is business also. So you need to look at something that you just don't go do things that doesn't benefit you too. So it probably not gonna be the streams, the followers for that person. It could be the talent that is stand out, and you feel like if you guys do something together with this kind of talent, people wants to hear something like that. You never can tell. It could be even that kind of talent that will propel whatever project you guys were doing. So in different ways, you just have to look things, you know. And I believe some other artists here in Australia, they lack confidence. Probably they judge other artists based on, oh, it's good, oh, it's quality, whatever. And if I work with this guy, I might look bad. People might judge me because of my own. It's beyond all that. I don't know if they really understand what the music industry itself is, you know. Sometimes even our flaws, our failures can be a blessing. I, I'm not scared of failing. I want to fail it at some stage because there's no failure without no success, you know. You need to do something and fail several times. That doesn't mean you can win. So you shouldn't fear that kind of stuff. Just go all out. Don't be scared if you're going to fail or not. Get whatever you need to get out there. Let people criticize you. Go back to whatever you've done. Go listen to the criticism. Change those things that needs to be changed. It makes you better. And that's the kind of person I am.
I
So
really hear what you're saying about not just investing in yourself, but investing in artists around you. That's what I was hearing from that, is like investing in, you know, when you get to know other artists in the African community in Australia, it's being able to invest in each other and building each other up goes a long way to that whole thing of recognition. What has the Australian feedback been like for you right now?
the exposure of getting to people here, or the platform at which an artist from this kind of country can reach out to or get to fans here in this country, is the probability is very low. It hasn't been helping. Do you know some people don't even know I'm in this country right now? I've heard some testimonies like people just come across my music and they were like chanting like, "Wow, this guy is good, man. I love his music, blah 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 blah." Blah. And probably somebody that knows I'm in this country says, "This guy is here in Australia. He's in like, no way. This guy is in Australia. No way. No, this guy is not here in Australia. This guy should be probably one big artist from somewhere in Africa or probably United States or something like that. No, he's right here in Australia." So that tells you that the music is not reaching out to some certain people where it's supposed to. It's not getting to where it's supposed to get to. I don't want to blame people, but I believe as we Black community, we should also try to look out for our own and support them. Like people just see these things and just stroll. It's not supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like it, because this person, you are in the same place, and you know the kind of the kind of world we live in right now.
Yeah.
We need to learn how to support our own, to put them up, you know.
Yeah.
I think we Black communities need to do more in that aspect, regardless of who the artist is, where he's from, whatever. I
Yeah.
used to tell people that we just think like in Africa, we are from, this person is from Uganda, this person is from Ghana, this person is from Nigeria, this person is from different kind of places, and then they start judging themselves based on the country
Yeah.
where they come from. But they forgot that we have the same color, and that tells us that we're all one.
Yeah.
So if you start discriminating your own brother from the same continent, how else is somebody is going to treat that person even better than the way you're treating them? Because you need to set like an example for that person to learn from that. Yeah, these
Yeah.
people love themselves. Have you seen the way the Indians unite? Have you seen the way
Yeah.
the Chinese people unite in
Yeah.
other countries? We don't do
Mm.
that.
Mm.
That makes them strong,
Mm.
you know. So we need to do more as Black people, not just helping or supporting the music or entertainment industry, but in different areas like that, you know.
Mm.
I guess in the kind of like social media and the kind of internet age, do you see like your music has more of like a global reach, or is it very much still within Australia, so it's reaching people in Australia, or is it kind of, it's not quite reaching the people it needs to in Australia, but is it reaching people internationally, or is it still kind of a spot where it's there but it's not kind of where it needs to be?
Right now, I would say my music is reaching out to. Um, I would say my market is mostly outside of Australia.
Mhm.
My target market is outside of Australia. I'm not
Yeah.
really targeting Australia at this moment because I believe in one thing. You become a superstar from outside, your
Mm.
home will recognize you even
Mm.
more better. So,
Mm.
but sometimes they say charity begins at home, right?
Mm.
But in this kind of my own thinking, I look at getting myself even more bigger from outside,
Mm.
and then I believe because I'm here, people here will be like, that guy is ours, he's our
Mm.
home.
Yeah.
He started from here. He does everything from here. So Australia
Mm.
got something to offer the world, and
Mm.
that's what I'm trying to do. And the response hasn't been majorly from Australia. It has always been out from outside.
Mm.
Yeah, I do have some fans here.
Mm.
I have diehard fans here, like
Yeah.
Pacific Island, from New Zealand, from Australia,
Yeah.
Samoan and Cook Island and all those people. They love my music, you know, and that's something for me. That makes me want to do more, you know, to to show these people, yeah, I got something them and I'm never gonna disappoint them.
Mm.
But at the same time, my major market is I'm targeting outside, I'm targeting the world in general.
Yeah.
My major market is Africa. And if I can do well in Africa, I know the world will accept me.
Mm.
And that's how it's supposed to work. Yeah. And the response has been great too from Africa.
Mm.
Yeah, like I said, I traveled to Africa this year. I went to Uganda. When I had a song with Shiva, um, there was restrictions in place. I couldn't travel out to make the video with her and all that. So we have
Mm.
to shoot two ways. Shot one here, the other one was shot down in Uganda, and that kind of affected a lot of things.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, this year when the border was open, I had the chance to travel to Uganda, to Rwanda, and even go to Nigeria. And when I got there, I saw that actually people were listening to me. People,
Mm.
people, people recognized me,
Yeah.
and that's something that motivates me even more to want to
Mm.
do more. I have projects that I've lined down for next year, and I'm going to shock the world next year. People are really going to be surprised that this guy, Keene Roti, is not just playing. I'm not yet.
And the Black House is here for it.
I know you guys have been supportive from day one, man, and I really appreciate. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
I wanted to ask you about your strategy for rolling out your tracks, because I noticed you had the album, The Major Scene, and then you picked like different singles. I think there was one or two from The Major Scene, and then you did Shana. You have this quite strategic rollout of the singles that you're promoting. Is there some method to the way that you're doing that?
Yes.
Or is it just
Yes.
whimsical?
No, there's strategies
Mm.
to the ways I put out my music. You know, I think last 2 years I have a major EP, like the one you just mentioned now, the major scene. I had the major scene out last year, but I wasn't able to promote it even more better because I had Shiba on it,
Right.
and I couldn't travel. The plan was for me to travel down to Africa to promote that EP with Shiba, do some other stuff in Africa, not just in Uganda, go to some other countries and all that. But COVID couldn't allow that to happen. And this is where I said there's strategy to it because on that EP, I have Shiba on it. And I was meant to shoot the video for it, but we couldn't. So we waited for a little while to see if the border will open so I can travel down to have the music video with her. But that couldn't come up in time. So if I try to put another song outside or another single outside, I would have just killed the song itself.
Right. Yeah.
So this is where me and my team like, okay, we're just gonna keep promoting each of those tracks for a little while until we actually get the video done for Pimpin.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at the duration at which the EP was dropped and when the video was dropped for Pimpin, it's about a year distance in between, probably not even 2 years. And that alone kind of slowed things down for me a little bit more because there's a lot of project I could have dropped at that particular time. But if I end up doing that, I would have killed the song Pimpin itself.
Right. I get you. Yeah.
Without a visual. So we actually have to sacrifice a lot. So
yeah.
I've recorded a lot of songs within that period and now, and I've not even had the chance of releasing them. I already have some new songs lined up for next year, which I still have some that I've recorded in the past years that are still not out yet. So what I'm doing sometimes is like I look at the atmosphere, I look at the other Afrobeat artists compared to what they're dropping to what will suit what I need to drop. Because you don't want to drop something and then you just end up falling out of the trends or the way the music industry is flowing itself generally around the world. Like I said, I don't work with Australian music industry. I work with basically African music industry and most generally Nigerian music industry. So I try to study what is happening around on social media, what is happening in Nigeria, how the world is responding to Afrobeats, what particular song is trending. That has to come in to make the decision of which song am I going to drop.
Yeah.
And sometimes, if I have a song that doesn't suit that particular moment of dropping that kind of particular song, I'd rather create one at that particular time to drop.
Okay.
So, for example, again, when I featured Keniso on that channel,
which I love, by the way, I love that song.
Yeah, thank you. We didn't picture channel to be the exact song we're gonna drop, but we had opportunity for a collaboration with Kenny So, and my management and I spoke about it, and they reached out to him, and we agreed, and we think of moving forward with the project. So I told my producer to make. I studied anybody I'm trying to work with. I go study their music, their style, everything about them, the beat, and everything. So I studied his music, and we said, okay. I told my producer, this is what I think will work. He was like, yeah, this is what I think will work. So we came up with something. He came up with a beat. He sent it down to me. Start listening and start writing. In the process of writing, I wasn't feeling the vibe. I haven't even recorded the first beat. So I told him, I said, see, I don't think this will be a nice one. Can you do something like this, like that? Let it sound this way. Let it sound this way. Play something like this. This is how I do my stuff, you know. Sometimes make some kind of sound, record it on the voice note, send it to him. Like, can you play this? And then, like, okay.
Yeah.
And that's how we came up with Shannon's beat. And then he made the beat, send it to me. I was like, yeah, I think this is more like it. And I wrote that song. I recorded it, forwarded it down to them, and they were like, wow. And that's how Shannon was created. So
Wow.
all these things come to dictate how, which, when, the timing of when particular songs can be dropped. Like from now till December, I was meant to drop some songs. But there was this song, Johnny Drill, one Nigerian artist, Don Jazzy, did. How are you, my friend? I was like, this song is so meaningful. The first time I heard the song, it made me start thinking of my friends from primary school, from ST, the ones we grew up together in the same areas, and I was like, I miss those people. But this song is good. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do a cover for this song, just in a way for me thinking like I'm pouring out my mind to those my friends. Now I did a cover to that song. I had to stop the process of me dropping some singles in between of that time to create that moment for that particular cover. And I dropped the cover. The video is yet to be out. It's going to be out probably next week for that cover.
Nice.
And the time is running out for this year to drop some particular project, you know. But whatever plans I have for next year, I don't want this year program to actually affect it. So even before this time to December, I'll probably drop 2 songs, just like bam bam, maybe 2 weeks to between interval.
So I can tell my friend, I won't mention her name, but she knows who she is. Keene Roti's putting out 2 tracks before Christmas, girl. Go get it.
So I'm gonna probably drop 2 singles before. So one other thing is that as an artist, you can't just keep dropping album or EP, because for someone like me, I'm still building my fans. I'm still trying to reach out to people who are yet to know me or something like that, to say, yeah, I'm this guy. So this is where singles works.
Yeah.
You drop out singles
Mm.
just to keep catching them. When now you've established yourself, you've become that brand that people recognize, you're now big to that extent, you can start dropping like much EPs, album, because then the songs are not going to turn to waste. You want to drop songs in album for people to listen to. You're not just dropping songs for dropping sake. You put it out there, very nice music, and nobody's getting to listen to it because they don't have there's no platform or the avenue for them to get to know you. So that's the role singles plays.
Yeah, I get it.
And I'm always careful of which singles I drop. I've not dropped my best yet.
Eddie's a DJ, and I'm assuming Eddie's got you on rotation when he's out there. Like,
Yeah.
we mold all rounders at the Black House. He not only specializes in dancehall, he specializes in Afrobeats and Amapiano. So I'm sure Eddie can tell me all the deets about this. I'm sure.
Please,
Yeah, definitely. It's like anything that's dropping, it's going in my rotation for summer. Like I'm just in that process of booking in all my gigs for summer. So I feel like anything that comes out is definitely going in my summer rotations.
No worries. Thanks, for that. Don't worry. Next year you're gonna see the kind of music that comes from me. You're gonna wow.
Excellent. I'll be able to do like I'll see what I can do in like a Keene Roti hour.
You're gonna have been better though. Yeah.
Hey guys, we've been here for an hour and a half. So what we're gonna do? It doesn't seem like it. We have that effect on people. I just wanna. Is there any last questions you want to ask Eddie before we wind this one up?
No, I think it's kind of covered off. Like I think, yeah, it's been really, really great talking to you, and I'm looking forward to these releases, man.
Absolutely. And where can people, if they're looking to say they see this video and they go, oh, I want to know who this guy is, where can people find you?
I'm all on music platforms like
So
Spotify, YouTube, AppleMusic, iTunes, all of them. My music is on all of them.
So that's Keene Roti on all music platforms.
Yeah, even Audiomack.
Audiomack.
True.
Keene Roti as KEENEROTI.
I would just like to say thank you so much for joining us today to have our little yarns that we do on the Black House with our special guests. This has been the Black House. We're not on the radio, we're on the internets today. This is the Black House Online, and we've been here with Keene Roti. Make sure you look out for his tracks coming out and check out the ones that are already out there on all streaming platforms, because you know you can find him everywhere, quite literally. And I hope that one day you're able to come back and tell us your progression and come down to New Zealand.
I'm looking forward to the journey.
I'm looking forward. I'm down to come to New Zealand. I'm down to come meet my fans in New Zealand. I want to thank them for this.
Wellington. Make sure it's Wellington. Because people have been avoiding Wellington. We want you to come to Wellington.
No worries. No worries. I will.
Okay, this has been the Black House. And like I said, we're on the internet today. We ain't on the radio. And thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll catch you later.
Thank you.
Peace.